Hey everyone. Thanks for checking out the Narcissist Exposed channel again. If you're new, click a subscribe and ring the bell to stay up to date. Today we are going to talk about something both sad and important, the shocking truth behind narcissistic sadism, unmasking their cruelty. We'll talk about the bad things about ego, how it blends with being mean, and what makes these people want to hurt other people. These things aren't simple to understand, but doing so can help you and others avoid doing bad things. Okay, let's start. People who are selfish often only care about themselves, can't connect with others, and need praise all the time. It is much more damaging and dangerous to think this way though, if you add sadistic traits to it. Sadistic narcissists enjoy hurting and making other people suffer. In this case, the person is not just narcissistic, they are purposely being mean. Narcissistic sadism has roots in mental, bodily, and environmental factors. Nasty sadism is caused by a strong need for power and control. Nasty people want other people to like and approve of them, but sadists want it even more. To try to boss people around, they use fear, shame, and pain. Lots of the time, people want power because they are very scared and don't know who they are. Controlling other people makes them feel better for a short time about how bad they feel and how useless they feel. One of the most upsetting things about narcissistic sadism is that the cruel things they do are planned. Narcissistic sadists often carefully plan their actions, unlike people who act violently without thinking about it. They are very good at finding weak spots in their victims and using those to do as much emotional and mental harm as possible. Their behavior is especially sneaky because they do it on purpose, leaving their victims feeling powerless and trapped. Another thing that sets egotistical sadists apart is that they get pleasure from hurting other people. For these people, seeing other people hurt gives them a strange pleasure. The dopamine reward system in the brain often links this pleasure to being cruel, which makes them act even worse. Their brains give them a rush of adrenaline every time they successfully cause pain. This reinforces the behavior and makes it more likely that they will do it again in the future. Narcissistic sadists act in very specific ways because they don't have empathy or don't care about other people. Being able to understand and share someone else's thoughts is called empathy, and it naturally stops people from doing bad things. Narcissistic sadists, on the other hand, have a serious lack of empathy. Because they can't connect with their victims' feelings, they can hurt them without feeling bad about it. This lack of empathy is often connected to issues in the anterior insula and the anterior cingulate cortex, which are parts of the brain that handle emotions. Sadists who are narcissistic often put on a charming and attractive front to the outside world. They can influence and trick others well because of this duality. It can be hard for other people to see through their facade because they are so impressive. They use this charm to get people to believe them and fall for their tricks, which they then use to hurt them. Narcissistic sadism has a deep and far-reaching effect on the people who are hurt by it. Many victims go through a lot of emotional and mental pain, such as anxiety, sadness, and post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. Abuse that is planned and happens over and over again can make a person feel powerless and worthless. Because of the constant worry and fear that comes with being abused, victims may also have physical problems like headaches, insomnia, and stomach problems. It's important to know how egotistical sadists act in order to protect yourself and others. Gaslighting is a common way for abusers to control their victims' minds by making them doubt their own reality. The egotistical sadist hurts the victim's sense of reality and self-trust by twisting the truth and making things unclear. This method is especially bad because it makes it harder for the target to see that they are being abused and get help. Narcissistic sadists also often use isolating people as a way to hurt them. By cutting their victims off from family, friends, and support networks, they gain more power over them and make it less likely that the victim will ask for help. Isolation also makes the abused person more reliant on the attacker, which strengthens the power imbalance. Narcissistic sadists also use controlling their victims' money as a way to gain power over them. By making it hard for the target to get money and other resources, they make them feel trapped and unable to leave. This cash dependence can make it very hard to leave an abusive relationship. It is possible to get away from a narcissistic sadist, even though their affects are often very bad and make it hard to do things. To start, you have to admit that you are being abused and know that it is not your fault. Narcissistic sadists are very good at making their victims feel like they are to blame for the abuse, but it is important to remember that their behavior is a sign of their own mental illness, not how valuable you are. It's important to get help from friends, family, and experts you can trust. A strong network of support can give you the mental and practical help you need to leave an abusive relationship and start healing. Treatment, especially treatment that focuses on trauma, can be very helpful for dealing with the mental effects of the abuse and boosting self-esteem and confidence. It may also be necessary to get legal and financial help, especially if the narcissistic sadist has power over money. Knowing your legal rights and choices can give you the strength to protect yourself and take back control of your life. Another important part of getting better from narcissistic sadism is setting and sticking to clear limits. This could mean cutting off all contact with the attacker and staying away from places where you could be manipulated again. You should put your own health and safety ahead of everything else. It is hard to change a selfish sadist, but some of them may ask for help and show that they want to change. But they have to really want to change their behavior and be very committed to therapy for this to work. If you aren't ready to change, your efforts probably won't work. Narcissistic sadism, on the other hand, is a very upsetting and harmful type of abuse that mixes narcissistic and sadistic traits. To protect yourself and others from their violence, it can be helpful to understand the psychological and neurological causes of their actions. Narcissistic sadists try to control people, but you can get away from them and start healing by spotting their tricks, getting help, and setting clear limits. Remember that you are not to blame for the abuse, and there is help out there to help you get better. That's all there is to know about the shocking truth behind narcissistic sadism and the cruel way they act. It's a tough subject, but you need to understand it to keep yourself and others safe from their harmful impact. If this video was helpful to you, please click a like and share it with other people who could use the knowledge. Leave a comment below with your ideas and stories too. We'd love to hear from you. It was fun to watch. See you in the next movie. For more interesting material, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon.